Okay. So any questions from last time? Any remaining obscurities? Or we'll jump in at 71E1, which begins with a very apt summary of our entire activity.
Okay. So ala u kalipon or Socrates epein. So he's been asked to say what virtue itself is. Socrates said he's never met anyone. So he says, but it is understood. It is not difficult, Socrates, to say. So the verb here, epein, which is the infinitive of the aorist of lego. Then proton men ebule andros aretein, radion hoti aute estin andros arete, ikanon enai prates poleos pratein, kai pratonta tus menus filus, eupoien tus de ectrus kakos, kai auton iulabestai, neden toiton pathein. So first of all,
could you just remind, just tell me where we're up to. I just didn't quite hear that.
Oh, so it's 71E23.
Okay.
Well, yeah, 71E1.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah. First of all, so it looks like it could be a mende. If you want virtue of a man, so boule is second singular present of the deponent, boulemai. Then radion. So once again understood. You have to understand it is plus also to say. It is easy to say. And then this I had a little trouble with. Hoti alte estin andros arete. And the trickiness here for me was with the hoti and the alte. So my best guess at it is easy to say that which is the virtue of a man himself. Oh no, the virtue itself, alter, of a man. So what do you think, Martin? Do you think it's that which is...
The only thing is here, it's halter, and that's the demonstrative pronoun in the feminine singular, right? So hutos, halter, tuto. So we're not, it doesn't have that sense of alter, altos, alter, alto, which is the smooth breathing, right? Because that which can mean self, same, or...
Oh, right. This is just demonstrative. Oh,
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So, and the hoti just follows, as you perfectly well pointed out, like it's easy to say, and then we get the subordinating conjunction that, right? That follows perfectly from what you're saying. So that this is the virtue of a man. Yep.
So that this understood virtue is the virtue of a man, right?
Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. This is the virtue of a man.
Oh, right. Okay.
And this is then, it's then, characterized by what follows, which you're about to,
hikanon enai. So basically, doing it is doing pratein, so the infinitive of prasor, it is doing tates poleos, the affairs, understood affairs of the city, hikanon, capably or sufficiently.
That's correct. I just change the order slightly and say this is the virtue of a man, to be capable of doing the things of the city, managing the affairs of the city. Yeah. So
right. So you'd have sort of enai to be hikanon capable.
Yeah, so
Hikanon capable. Okay.
Hikanon is there the accusative with the infinitive. So it's like indirect discourse. So the subject goes in the accusative and the verb goes in the infinitive. And hikanos, to be capable of doing something, can take the infinitive, as I think it does here. So it means to be capable of completing or practicing the things of the city.
Okay. Yeah. Kai rapontatus men pilus you pollen, and so forth. So now this is
Hi, Janet. I can't hear you yet.
Janet, we're at 71. We just started a couple of minutes ago. We're at 71E, about 4 or so.
Thank you.
So this pratonta is a participle, and I think it here is a noun, like a doer. So and the doer of the masculine virtue of managing the city, and the doer, and here poiein, the infinitive of poiel, the infinitive means to treat. The best translation, as Beetham has it, is to treat. To treat well friends on the one hand, tus men, and tus dare, to treat badly enemies. So the doer of, referring back to the doer of the managing of the city, treats friends well and treats enemies badly. Kai auton iurabestai, and himself takes it, iulabestai, that's an infinitive of iulabomai. Hang on, I'll check against this.
Yeah.
I've got it here. Iulabestai is the infinitive of iulabeomai. So it's a middle present infinitive. And he takes care nothing at all to suffer like this toi uton, and the toi uton refers to the kakos ecthrus, the doing badly to enemies. I think would that be fair?
Yeah, just a minor modification. So I'll just go from Kai Pratonta, which if you can see it, it's just here. No, my pointer won't do it, but Kai Pratonta at the end of line E3. So, and while accomplishing the affairs of the city, right, while doing that, so it's a participle in the accusative masculine singular agreeing with hikanon, right? So it says directly in hikanon is in apposition with halter, and pratonta is in apposition with hikanon. So, and while doing that, right, to be capable of a eupoiein, doing well to friends, and kakos poiein, doing badly to enemies. So helping friends and harming enemies.
So you wouldn't translate it as a noun, like the doer.
It's modifying the noun, which is the character of the person of the man who has virtue. But it's the person, the man who had, in this case, it's specifically the man, is sufficient to do this, and while doing this, so it's modifying it more like an adjective.
So it's a participle, is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, pratonta is the present accusative singular masculine participle for prator, to do or accomplish. And then another infinitive following hikanon, to take care not to suffer any such thing himself, that he himself not suffer any such thing. Yeah, that's good.
And then edebule gonaikos aretin. So, and if you, once again, it's sort of, you get this phrase repeated, and if you want virtue of a woman, once again, understood, it's not difficult. So this is, this infinitive is from, basically from dia and erkamai. So it's the so it's the aorist of the of what would be the erkamai. The aorist of the second part becomes elthon. Aorist is elthon, so it's to distinguish it from, you know, the simple sort of indicative. So this is the aorist infinitive active of going through. It's not difficult to explain, I guess you would say, to pan out.
Sorry,
Would
what
that
word,
be,
what word are you talking about? Sorry.
so it's in the middle of line 6.
Yeah.
So where he says, and if you want, if you wish the virtue of a woman, once again, esti is understood. It's not difficult to set out to go through that, perhaps hoti is that, and this is this interesting impersonal kind of verb of obligation. Joe?
Sorry.
And so this is third person singular of deor, which is like I need or I lack. So that, and it's impersonal, that it lacks, that she lacks, or she needs. So she needs to manage the house well. Oikian you oikein. Oikein and oikian are, of course, a cognate with house management, should you say, maybe say. So it's sort of incumbent on her to manage the house well. Then, so Sodzu-san, that's a participle, I think.
Yep.
Saving ta endon, which is the contents, what is inside the house, ta endon, so it's the inside the house things. And I think the te before the ta is just and, but I don't know why it is where it is. And then this last, sorry.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, you finish off. It's good.
And then this last part I find tricky. Kai kate ko on usan tu andros. So, I mean, I've seen the translations, but so I guess so. Kata akuo is sort of to listen from below, kata from below, to listen from below. And it seems that kata, this verb of kata akuo takes genitive. So listen from below to understood your husband.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. There's just a couple of things to I sort of pick up because you brought out well the verb de-erkamai, right? So erkamai by itself, I'll just do the verbal form first. So erkamai means come or go, and that's the present. And then we have a second aorist in Attic Greek, elthon, I came or I went. Now, in the infinitive, you get rid of the augment because the augment's only there in past tenses in the indicative, and it's elthang. Sorry, I just messed that up. Elthang, to go, to come or go, but as an aorist infinitive. So we have where is it? Yeah, DL Thane. So we've got the aorist with the in the compound verb to go through. So it's not, it is kalapon, not a difficult thing to go through. So that's why it's got an epsilon at the beginning, because it's the infinitive form and doesn't have the eta. Okay, so that's good. And then, so hoti day. So day mai, as you pointed out, means I lack or need.
Yeah.
But in this third person singular, this is the active version, not the middle or passive form. And so usually you can just translate it, it is necessary, with an accusative and an infinitive, right? So we have the accusative here. I'll just write a couple of words up just to. So day, it's necessary, right? That, and we have she. So autos being used as a pronoun, as it can be used only outside the nominative. So it's necessary that she, oikein, so manage well the household. Then we have in the next clause, te kai, both and, right? And you picked up that it looks odd, right? But what it does connect to that kai before kate kawan. So 1 second, Alice. Yeah. So it's both preserving the things within and there's the adjective, it's an adjective, kate kawas. Sorry, kate kawas on. And it means, yeah, listening to, and akuo and adjectives that have akuo in it take the genitive, because you're listening to a certain thing from a certain person, and the person you're listening to goes into genitive. So it means to be heedful, or more harshly, obey, right? So preserving the things within and being heedful of her husband. Yeah, but that's good. That's good. Any other questions?
And so, Martin, you know how you had the both and the to kai. So the first to sort of is referring back to the swordzu sun, the saving, right? So it's sort of putting it it's obviously putting it the opposite to the way we put it in English, right?
How do you mean? So, you mean we put both before?
We would say both saving the
you're
contents,
right.
and right.
And so te is not just including, it's post positive, so it never starts a clause, right? And so frequently you will have like she gave birth to a daughter and a son, and you'd have the word for son and then te, so you'd have daughter, son, te. So that word never goes first in its own clause. So it doesn't work for our word order. That's right. Right.
Thank you. Now,
he uses oikeo here, but later on, if we get that far, it's de oikeo. Is there a difference? Is there something he's trying to convey?
I don't know if he's trying to convey something. Dia as a as a prefix on a verb usually means to do something thoroughly.
Intensifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know what he might have in mind at the moment.
What does the kata do to akuo?
I'm not sure. Yeah. I'd have to check. But my hunch would be that it's the direction that you're listening to. Like,
well, here you're listening from below, right? In this case, you're listening from below, right?
Well, cut when it means, but it points down. Kata, like as you know from the beginning of the Republic, kata ben, I went down. But that wouldn't be from below, because that would be something like hupo. Like that would be from below. This would be pointing down. So I don't think it has that spatial reference here. This is my instinct. I could be wrong.
Can't it also mean according to, or?
Yeah, that normally means in respect of,
and
so on. That's what I mean by the direction. Like it's, you're hearing in a direction. like in point of, and then you're told by the genitive in point of what. That yeah, so that could be it, but I'd want to check before I pronounce.
Hayale estin paidos arete. So, and another is virtue of a child, both female and male, and of an old man, if you like, of a free person, if you wish, of a slave. So they're pretty repetitive, those ones. In kai alai, pampolai, aretai, esin, etc. So, and there are other very many virtues, as poste uk aporea epen aretes hoti estin. And not in a perplexing way to speak about, which are not in a perplexing way.
So before that you were pointing out, Chris, that the reason he's got kalapon, and you have to add in it is a or kalapon. It is not a difficult thing. So this is the similar thing that uk aporia esti. There is no aporia.
Just as there is no aporia to speak about about virtue. About what? That's not the end of the sentence, is it?
Oh, bro is dead.
Just the hoti estin, and then
what it is to speak about virtue, that what it is.
That's it.
Kath hekasten gaton praxeon kaiton helikion pros hekaston ergon hekos hekasto humon he arete estin. According because each of the virtues of actions and of different ages towards different functions, each of them is a virtue. Each of them has a virtue, I suppose. What's this word? In like manner, I think Socrates also the vices.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So just coming back to the kathekastan, I'm assuming that, so he says, in respect of each, in respect of each, ton praxayon. I think maybe in respect of each of the practices, and ton herlikion, which is herlikia is the age, right? So, and in respect of each of the ages, so in respect of action and age, in relation to each work, in relation to each work, our virtue, for each of us, the virtue is for each of us in relation to each work. Okay, so I've made a mess of that. So in respect of each action and of each age, our virtue is for each of us in relation to each work. So the work is relative to the practice and the age. Yeah, and so each of our virtues is in related to those two things.
How do you get each virtue of ours?
For each of us, so hekastor, hermon. So for each of us,
Oh, so Hamon is after Hekasto.
I'm thinking it is the virtue for each of us is in relation to each work, in relation to each practice and age. See what Beetham says. I mean, not Beetham. Yeah, does anyone have Beetham open? Because I've got Stedman. He doesn't comment directly. Yeah, but so we've well, however we have to put it together, it's definitely each age, each practice and age in relation to each work for each. I think it's for each of us. The virtue is. That is, the virtue is in relation to each age and practice, in relation to each work, right? Because there's a work for each age and practice. And that, related to that work is our virtue. So therefore,
Sharples says.
who, sorry?
Sharples.
Oh, Sharples, yep.
He says, for there is an excellence for each of us according to each activity and time of life and for each task.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying,
Yeah.
except that's smooth English that is intelligible. Yeah. Good.
Can I just go back to the Horster?
Yeah, the Horster is so that, yes.
I thought Horster with an infinitive as opposed to Horster with the indicative, isn't one the natural result and the other the actual result?
Right.
I may have them back to front, but I thought the infinitive with Horster was effectively, an English finite. So as to be, to say no difficulty of virtue about what it is.
So so that I'm taking horse there with the esti.
With an implied with a elided esti,
yeah. So that there is no aporia to say, and the aporia then is to say, in this case, there's not an aporia, but normally it is an aporia to say that there's no way forward to say that, to speak about virtue.
So pain is an infinitive after aporia.
Apain is, that's how I'm taking it, as an infinitive after aporia. Yeah. So there's no aporia to speak about virtue. And then there's an implicit say tuto, to say this about virtue. And then after tuto is hoti, the indefinite relative pronoun. So to say this, whatever this about virtue, this is whatever it is. And so that this is explained as whatever it is, but the antecedent in Greek is often drops out, and we just have the relative or the indefinite relative, as we have in this case, hoti, at beginning the relative clause.
And the peri can come after the noun it governs, can't it?
Yes. So notice that
periodites,
normally has the acute, well, it normally has a grave accent on the iota because it's followed by another word. And the accent moves back to the first vowel when it's related, when it's governing the noun that precedes it rather than follows it. So aret has peri as opposed to peri something or other.
Right.
All right. So when it's on so that accent moves, and there are a few dual syllable prepositions, amphi, peri, kata, and so on. And when they don't govern the word that follows them, which is normal, as it's normal in English, then the accent moves back one step to the first vowel. Everyone else happy? Or any other questions?
Sorry,
So,
what are the prepositions that do that, Martin?
Sorry?
What are the prepositions that do that?
Oh, any preposition can do it.
Any at all? Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Polege tini iu tukia eoika ke prestai o menon. So this is eoika is first person perfect, first person singular perfect of acor I see. So, and kekrestai is also a perfect, I think, passive infinitive of krao. Krao is to supply or to furnish something. So this is something like, I seem to have been furnished a certain plentiful good fortune, menon. Emian zeton areten smenos ti ane ur eka areten parasoi kemenon. If seeking one virtue, a certain swarm I have found of virtues, parasoi kemenon. So I think this is a present participle. So this swarm has accrued to you, sort of thing. But he's saying, so it's zeton and anereka. So anereka, that's perfect, but zeton is a present participle.
Yep.
I think.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
right.
So if I am seeking that, a certain swarm, I have found a certain swarm is accrued to you of virtues.
Yeah, that's good. And this shows how the participle works. So the participle is outside the indicative. The indicative is both aspect and time. Outside the indicative, it's normally just aspect. And the present participle is ongoing. So so the time's relative to the main verb. So the main verb in this clause, in this if clause, is anereka, right? So, which is the perfect. I have discovered. So if while in the past I was seeking one virtue, I have discovered certain swarm of virtues with you. And then so then this first in the main clause, so aioka, I seem, kekrestai. So kraomai normally means to acquire, but it can mean to manage, and it can mean to be affected, or to come across or experience. So I seem to have come across a great good fortune, something like that. But yeah, it's difficult because there's a lot of different versions of kra or kraomai and so on. Yeah, that's good. Anyone else have any questions? Or
how are we translating Cayman?
So literally,
Got a metaphorical sense of it?
Yeah. So, I mean, the metaphorical sense that Chris supplied is good, that accrues to you, because it means laid up with you.
Laid up with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, dative, parasoi, well, dative with the preposition para, but, laid up at your side. So, that you have.
So, atar o menon katatau ten eikona ten perita smene emu eromenu merites periusias hotipot estin. I'll just stop there. But Menon, following on the image about the swarm, if so, eromenu so this is a participle, right? I've made a note that it's an aorist participle. If I asked about the being of a bee, whatever it is, or what precisely it is, and yeah, I was first. So the mu after the a is like if I myself asked, right? It's what is it? It's a genitive absolute.
That's right. Genitive
Right?
absolute. Very good. Yeah.
So if I myself asked about the being, precisely the being of a bee, polas kai pantopados eleges autes enai, many and very I forget the term. Many and very numerous, diverse. They are. Then I'm not sure really what that is, but then just to try to finish this, what would apekrino moi, what would you say to me if eromein, if I asked you, set? So apekrino, I think that's aorist, is it?
That's right. It's a second aorist. So, and it's the second person singular in the middle. Yeah.
I didn't quite get that from Polars onwards.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a very complex nesting of three conditions for a statement, and I'm actually thinking of writing something about it, because I was looking at Block and I just have a slight disagreement with. It's just the way people understand conditional sentences, because I think they have a definite priority, whereas Block is saying they're all the same. Like you have if this, if that, and then you have the hypothesis. But we'll just go through it slowly, because it is difficult. So I'm just going to go quickly down to the first A. So ata, but Meno, according to this image, that is the image concerning the swarms, and you can see it's ta smerner. If you look above, it's smernos. So that tells us that it's top smernos. So it's a third declension neuter. So the ending in os, it just looks like the second declension masculine, like logos, or anthropos or something. But it's third, like ethos or ethos. It's third declension. So that's why it's got ta smerner, and the ending air is what happens when when the alpha that is always in the ending for neuters in the plural contracts with the epsilon. Okay, so according to your image about the swarms, so if, now then we have the genitive absolute mu romanu. So if, and then that's also conditional. So it's if I had asked, right? And we'll come back to that in a second. So about the being of a bee, if I had asked tuto, which is not there, this, hoti, which is the indefinite relative pronoun picking up an antecedent that's not there, right? Whatever it is, and the whatever, the indefiniteness is further emphasized by pote, so which here without the epsilon, because the subsequent epsilon has forced it to be elided. So it's whatever it is. So if I had asked about the being of a bee, what is it? If you were saying eleges, second person singular in the imperfect, if in reply to my asking that, if you were saying that they are autas, there are multiple virtues, and they are many and various. Then ti an ape krino moi. That's the hypothesis. What would you answer me? Right? If, so we have another if, or circling about that brief hypothesis, right? The main clause. If I asked you, and then we have the question. So the basic sentence is, what would you answer me if I asked you about the bee, blah, 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 if I asked you the following question, right? So they're both they're both concerning this main clause. Is there anything in that someone wants to ask about? Okay, we can. Yeah.
So ara tuto vespolas kai pantopadas enai kai diaferusas alelon to melitas enai. That's a question. So what do you say? Are you saying many and very various there are? Differing from each other. Or naritas enai. So this is dative to be of bees. Look, I'm not really sure. Yeah. So he's saying. So it's a question. Ara tuto. The question about what you are saying about the. Yeah. So I think I'll need a hand with this sentence.
Yeah, question. It's the word order. It has been rhetorically very, radically changed. So we've got, see, there's tutor at the beginning. Sorry, that tutor is picked up by the tor militas enai. So that's an articular infinitive. So we have the definite article tor plus enai, by being, right? So by being bees, and we have what is typical, which is an accusative subject for the infinitive. That's the bees. So by being bees. Yeah. So he says, question, as you said, Fairs, are you asserting that enai, they are many and various and differing from one another, tutor, by this, by being bees? But he's put the this at the very front, and it's this structure. It's called chiasmus, where you take these two elements that go together and put them either side rather than at each point. So it's do you assert that they are many and various and differing from one another by this, that is, by being bees? Yeah.
The statement calls it a dative of cause.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
By being bees.
Yeah.
So that's a cause of their being bees. Or...
Yeah, you can call it. I mean, these are made-up terms, which are very helpful, but it doesn't mean that, oh, well, we're introducing a notion of cause in any contemporary sense or ancient sense, or it's just a grammatical description. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, like, when we were looking at the Phaedo, he had, dia plus accusative. He had the dative in this use, and he had itia, and so he had 3 or 4 different ways of speaking of how something happens on account of, in various ways, other things. Yeah. So it's a deliberate
So in
variety.
this case, it's on account of
You could say on account of this, or by means of this, or through this.
it's by means of.
Well, actually, by means of might be a bit too far, but but here it is by. I mean, because the dative is normally by or with, by being bees, just in virtue of being bees. Do they differ in that?
I thought maybe it was referring to by virtue of being many and various. That's not that. By virtue.
No, he's saying, so it's after the fes, we have accusative and infinitive.
Mhm.
And the accusative is altas, which is in the line above. It's not in this sentence. Do you assert that they are? And then we have these, predicates. They are polas, panta, dapas. Do you assert? And then the ani, which is the verb in the infinitive. So do you assert altas? They are many and various, and adjective, or participle, the adjectival form of the verb, and they are differing from one another by this. In this respect, in the respect of being bees, or by being bees, or however you want to translate that. Yeah.
Martin, I remember a sort of philosophical difficulty with this when we looked at it in the chapter of the book. What exactly is Socrates asking you?
Well, if the fact that we're talking about the fact that we can identify them all as bees, are they different in that respect? Which makes it very difficult to answer no, because you've already identified them all as bees.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange question.
Yeah, but Michael, he answers it in the following line. Socrates is basically saying, they differ in beauty, in size, and in different ways. Some might have larger number of legs or something. But if they're all bees, then they're all the same in being bees. Because just after those 3 words, to meritas enai, in being bees, he says, or in that sense, not at all do they differ. Yeah, because in being bees, they're all the same. But and in another way, in kind, or in beauty, or in size, or in other respects, so the attributes of the different sorts of bees. And then tell me, what would you say thus if you were asked?
Yeah, but just sticking with the question and sort of inverting the order. I mean, ara is a yes/no answer, isn't it? Ara is a question that is a particle that introduces a question with a yes or no answer. So by virtue of this, by there being bees, do you say they are many and different kinds and different from one another? So their business makes them multiple and different. It's a weird question.
But it's only weird from our ordinary perspective, because what we're putting into language is the fact that we can identify things as belonging to a particular kind, which we don't normally think about. But that's part of that is, that goes to the question of what a thing is, like its being.
Yeah.
As opposed to, and we had that sentence last week about not looking at hoios, what sort of thing is, but at what it is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure and that's, whatever its veracity, that's possibly the fundamental. Well, it's one of the several fundamental lessons that Socrates keeps trying to hammer home. That you fully understand the thing through what it is, not through one of its characteristics. Like
No,
even
I
on a lot,
get that, but the question seems to be saying, by virtue of being bees, they're many and different kinds and different from one another.
No, he's saying, do you say that they are many?
Yes. Do you say that? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
But
say
by
that?
virtue
Because
of being bees, by virtue of this, do you say that they are many different kinds, different
yeah,
one another? Yeah.
that's right. Because he's saying the excellence of a human being depends upon your age, and your task. Well, your task, which depends upon what's the word to use? Age and your action, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're a slave, you're a man, you're a woman, you're a child, and Socrates is going to say, well, is there a fundamental virtue of human beings? That's the question.
Yeah.
And so, do human beings, qua human beings, have any attributes, or are they always divided into these categories?
Yeah.
Which is a question, but yeah.
Okay, I think I'm now released from my agony.
Yeah, you've done very well, Chris. That's excellent, really excellent.
Yeah, Chris, you copped a really difficult passage. I got to say, I'm very impressed.
Yeah, no, that was very, very good. So just that last, so say, what would you answer? Hutos, error terthes. So error ta'or is I ask, and this is the aorist passive participle. If you had been asked. All right, so that's agreeing. That's the same subject. That's the subject, which is the same subject of apercrenal. What would you say if you had been asked? Yeah, very good. Okay.
I'm taking over now.
Great.
So Meno says, "Tut egoge, hoti huden diaphorusen, he litai asin, he hetera tes heteros." So
Sounds familiar.
yeah, I've just been discussing this with Martin today. Anyway, so we've got two verbs, finite verbs in the third person present. Diaphorusen, differ. So anyway, I'll start with the and as asin was to be who they are. So anyway, so tut egorge, so this, I would say this, that, hoti, that, they do not differ at all. Uden, different. And then there's this little pronoun or adverb that we've been discussing, hey, and I'm translating it as, because anyway, hey litai asin. So I mean, it's normally that hey is normally a feminine relative pronoun in the dative, but here there's no single in the singular. There's no singular noun to refer to, so it's functioning as an adverb, correlative adverb. In which way? So I would say that they do not differ. In which way that they are bees, the one from the other. So hey hetero, tes heteros, one from the other. So yeah, and so what I was discussing with Martin was that how does the pronoun hey, the feminine dative pronoun, get converted into an adverb, correlative adverb? And I still don't know the answer to that, but it's apparently what he suggested last time we went through this was that it's referring to implicit hodos, which is a feminine noun, which is a way. So that's how it could get converted into an adverb. But Martin says that's not the case. So what is it? How does it convert into an adverb?
Well, yeah, we have no record of it converting into an adverb. We have both uses as far back as it goes. The reason why I was pointing out about the hodos is because, yeah, that shows how you can get that sort of independent use with that a kind of adverbial sense, in the way in which they are bees.
Yeah.
But yeah, strictly speaking, here, as you say, it's being used adverbially, and it's like qua in Latin, insofar as they are bees. Yeah, that's
okay. And I translate it as in the way in which they're bees. You seem happy enough with that?
I'll let that pass. Yeah, I can see you want to smuggle in way. That's yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big. It actually, I was thinking about this and I looked up a couple of lines in Aristotle because I just looked at the first page of Book Gamma, which is my main memory of seeing being qua being, to on, hair on. And it's in the first line of Book Gamma, and it's all the way through the first couple of chapters. And there's a really good reference to chapter 6 of Book 1 of the Ethics, because where Aristotle is discussing the Platonic, forms, and he's talking about qua human being, qua this, qua that, or hair this, hair that, which I recommend looking at that. It's interesting.
Okay. Anyway, that's the way Beacon translated. I'm just going with his.
Okay.
So they're bees. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you have to put something in. Like I'm going insofar as, or you can't just say as. So yeah, fair enough.
Okay. Anyway, so that's it. And then we'll go on to what Socrates says. Eun epon meta tauta. So yeah. If I then said after that, meta tauta, and that's a second aorist, first person singular, apon, said. I then said after that, tuto toinun moi alto epe, amenon. So well then, toinon, epe, second as tell me, so second person singular imperative of the aorist apon. Tell me this. Tell me this itself. Is that it?
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. Yeah.
Tell me this itself. Menon. Or udon diaf usin ala torton and asin pasi ti tuto face enai. So Yeah. So that by which is the or, and that's referring to the tuto, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
That by which they do not differ at all. But other pass in, all of them are the same. Yeah, taught on in the same. We've got ace in there. Third present. In the present, third person. So all of them are the same. Yeah. So tell me that by which they do not differ at all. But all of them are the same. So yeah, the tell me was face ani. So oh no, sorry, that's later. Yeah, sorry. What do you affirm this to be? So T Tato face ni. Anyway, that's where we got up to at the moment. And then the last part, excess. Depu an ti moi e pain. So a case is a second person singular imperfect of can. So could you tell me something? Or perhaps, yeah, we got the depu is perhaps. So could you perhaps tell me T something? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I would translate "dare poo" as like more affirmative. Like, surely, at case, you would be able to tell me something. And so you can see that the structure of this is, look at the begins with a un. So if I said after this, right, protasis of a conditional, if I said after this, you would surely be able to say something. That's the structure. That's the main clause there. And then we have the if clause goes right down to the end of the quotation marks. So if I said this, you would surely be able to say something. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Mark, I need to break to attend to some animals.
Okay. Should we have a quick break? How will 10 minutes help?
That's enough for me.
Okay. Back in 10, 16 past. Thanks.
Thanks.
This. Okay.
Okay. So Socrates says, Utor dekai peri ton ereton. So same clause. In this way also concerning virtues. Pan a polai kai pan antot tapai asin even if they are many and of many kinds. enge ti eidos tauton apasi ekusin di ho asen eretai. So another main clause. And this is an important one because it's the first where he introduces eidos for the first time. So even if there are many, many kinds, then he says, they do indeed have a cusin and one T certain eidos form. Do indeed have one certain form, the same tauton. All of them apasi, pasai, or hapasai. Sorry. The whole asen eretai, through which they are virtues. So any about that? Is that right, Martin?
Yeah. So yeah, dia ho, on account of which they are virtues.
Yeah.
That's his other common way of saying so. Dia plus accusative or dative plus infinitive. You know, through being this or on account of which. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Ace ho kalos gu ekai. Okay. So yeah, and then apo the anta ton apo criminon apo menon tor epo te santi ekane no dulosai. So to which it holds well, or it's a good idea. And then about to pay attention about that Fanta. To the one answering, or no, for the one answering, to the one having asked. So you've got lots of participles there. And then Kano Telosai, to make clear ho tunkane usa arete. So that which virtue happens to be. And then you have conjunction or hey u panthanes hoti legor. So, or do you not understand what it is I'm saying?
Yeah, that's very good. I just want to highlight one aspect as we go through. Well, I want to highlight the aspect of the participle. So if we go back to the kai a polai So even if they are AC, even if they are many and of various kinds, then that's even if, then we have the main clause. All of them have, so hapasai, all the virtues, ekusin, have some one eidos that's the same. Some one form is the same, on account of which they are, so relative clause preceded by a preposition, diaho, on account of which they are virtues. And then another preposition plus a relative, so a relative clause, looking to which it holds beautifully. And then we have a kind of indirect speech after the eke. It holds well, it holds beautifully, that accusative, and the accusative of the subject of this reported speech is ton apokrinomenon, the one answering. Okay, so that's the person answering. They're the subject of this subordinate clause. So that the one answering, apo blepsanta. So blepo is to look. Apo means to look away at everything else and focus on one thing. So, and in this case, though, it's the aorist participle, santa, right? Apo blepsanta. So that means having focused on this, the one answering to the one who was asked, to erote santi, a dative. So, and that's also the aorist. So someone has asked, the one who is doing the answering first looks, that's done, and then it holds well that that person answering, der losai, make clear this, ekeno, and then another subordinate relative clause inside the original relative clause, ho, makes clear that which virtue happens to be. But it's just, yeah, that you can see the aspect of the participles. You know, the first of all, someone has to ask a question, then the person has to look at something, and those actions need to be completed, and then the person answering answers this, makes clear this.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. And then, it says, Doke ye moi manthanein. Indeed, it seems to me, I seem to me to understand the infinitive. Who mentoi was ulamai e pu kat ekoi ko to erod dominon. So yeah, I did seem to me to understand. Mentoi, however, so conjunctive adverb. Who so not but not yet here. Where's the yet? Is that
Or
Paul? It's a Paul.
that pi omega.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, not yet. Or spulmai, as I would like, was wish. Kateko, I grasp. Don't grasp it as I would wish yet. To about dominon. What has been asked is a participle. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. I don't Yet grasp what is being asked as I wish. That's good. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
What's the poll?
Yet.
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 Which is emphasizing the mentoi.
No. So the ge goes with bulamai. It's not as I wish, ge, that I and the paw goes with katekor. I don't yet comprehend.
Okay.
I think that's where it's the end of my bit.
Yeah, that's good. I think, Andrew, are you following?
Yeah, I think I'm following from the Proteron part. Yep.
Great, great.
Okay. Proteron de peri aretes monon soi hutor doke or menon ale men andros enoi ale de gunaikos kai ton alon kai peri hugi eas kai peri megathus kai peri iskuos ho saltos. So it's a question, and Potron is whether and whether concerning excellence alone, does it in this way seem to you, Meno, one on the one hand, one to be for the man, and on the other hand, for the woman, and the others. I'll stop there. So I'm a bit puzzled about the others, Martin. You can't say men and women and the others. There are no others. So is he talking about the other virtues, are the other qualities, or is he talking about lions having virtues like courage? Or
well, you know how he talked before about age and action.
Oh yeah.
So I think an old man or woman is different from a man or a woman in their prime who runs a household or a city.
I see. Okay.
So like a child or a slave or a free woman or a free man, as opposed to, and so on. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. So of everyone else, I think.
So the others are still other varieties of humans.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So then, air kai peri wugeus, that's and also concerning health. Kai peri megathus, and also concerning size. Kai peri iskuus, and also concerning strength. Horseatus, just the same. So, and or just the same concerning health, size, and strength.
Right.
Ale men andros. Oh, by the way, for this clause structure you're asking, I think doke is the only finite verb in the whole thing, I think.
Yep.
And would it be the main clause going up to torn alon, and then it would just be a conjoined clause for the rest of them?
Okay, so yeah, so does it seem to you to be thus about virtue or also about health and so on? And so yeah, that continues that first clause. Does it seem to you to be
It's
thus about
all one clause then?
or about the others? Yeah, okay. So now, as you correctly pointed out, Potter on. So does it seem to you to be thus only about virtue, or is it also thus about health and so on?
Ale men andros doke soi enai hugeia, ale de gunaikos. So on the one hand, does it seem to you on the one hand to be one one health for the man and another for the woman? That'd be the other question.
Yeah, so just to note that both with heteros and with allos, Greek will use aller, or hetera, and it means we have to translate it one or the other, which sometimes causes problems. But we just don't have that locution in English where you can say other or other. Yeah.
Tauton, pantakou, eidos, esten, or everything is this, or this kind is of, or everything is this kind. Ian per whether health. Oh yeah, this I was puzzled by this. The eta with the smooth breathing and the circumflex on the top of it would be the imperfect of Amy, like I was or I used to be, but it has a iota subscript. So I was a bit puzzled by what that meant.
Yeah, so it's actually the subjunctive of Amy.
Ah, right.
Yeah, so in the third person singular.
I would be, or I could be, or
yeah, so yeah,
could it be
going with the aeon, so is there everywhere the same form? If it should be aeon, if there should be health, and then we get aeon te. So the aeon pair is if there should be, and then we get aeon te, whether it is this or that.
right? So Aenta and Andri, Aenta and Alo Hotu on air. So if it's the case for men, or no, so I'm drawing a blank on that one, Mark. You have to help me out with that one.
Yeah, no, so aeon pair hugi air, if it should be health, and then a similar construction, but the conjunction changes from aeon pair to aeon te. So, or if it should be, whether it should be, and we've got the subjunctive at the end, applying to both of these clauses, aeon te. So whether it should be health in a man, or it should be health in anyone else whatsoever. Yeah. And the un just emphasizes the indefiniteness of the hotor, the indefinite relative pronoun, in anyone else at all.
What's ante?
So te is both and, yes. And you remember how we had, like, if it's it's te, that's neither nor.
Right.
And this is and this is aeon te, whether it should be X or whether it should be Y.
Is that derived from a if or
Yes. So if we have
I see. And then
yeah. So if you have ater, whether it's this or that, and we've got, but it's just aeon because it's the subjunctive.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Her alter moi doke hugi ea ge enai kai andros kai gunaikos. So it seems the same. Health, health seems to be the same to me for the man and for the woman.
Yeah, that's perfect. The way you did that was perfect. So, yeah, the health seems to me to be the same. I think there are other possible constructions, but I think that's the best one. The health, both of a man and of a woman, seems to me to be the same. So the hugiea is the subject of doke, which is complemented by her alter, the same. Yeah, that's good.
Ukun kai megathos kai iskus. I looked up ukun. That's it's literally not therefore, but it has a meaning of don't you agree that or something. if you were saying it in a. So don't you agree? It's the same for size and strength. Would that be right?
Yep. Yep.
I mean, you have to throw those words in there. So not there to
You,
start off.
you have to throw in quite a number of words. Does it not seem to you to be the same? Do size and strength not seem to you to be the same? Yeah, something like that. But yeah.
Ian per iskura gune to auto eidai kai te ote iskui iskura estai. So whether it's the case that strength in the woman, or to be the strength being in the woman, or it could be in the woman, is the same form also as strength. And whether strength in the woman is the same form as strength, something like that.
So yeah, it's so iskus is strength. Iskus, that's the noun. Iskuros, iskura, iskuron is the adjective. So just in that first one, ayan pair goes with air. And gunez nominative, so that has to be the subject of the verb air, the subjunctive. So if a woman is iskura, strong, if a woman is strong, and then the main clause, estai, will she be strong, iskura, tor altor ade, by the same form and by the same strength. So there we have the noun iskui, that's the dative of the noun iskus. Iskura, that's the nominative of the adjective for the related adjective. So will she be strong by the same form and by the same strength?
To gar te ote tuto lego. I say this to be the same. Would that be right, or?
I say this is by the same, I guess.
Because tuote is dative, so it's like instrumental or something. Being
well, I think I say, yeah. I think it just refers to the situation. I think she is strong by the same strength. But it's just radically, I'm saying this by the same. Let me just, see if someone says something here. Yeah, so Stefan's got a note. Oh, okay. So actually, he's got a good note. So the to, where's the to? Oh, are we? Oh no, sorry, that's the next line. Oh no, this is it. Yeah. So yeah, I just completely overlooked the to here at the beginning. So, okay. So he's saying legor. I am saying to, and the to is functioning, as Stephen points out, like quotation marks around the ter alter. So I am saying by the same. I'm saying by the same. I'm saying tutor this, which follows. So it's a double accusative after legor. I'm saying by this locution, the same. By the same, I'm saying this, and then he's going to explain to this.
Uden diafere pros to iscus, enoi iscus, eante en andri eante en gunaiki. Uden, there is no difference for strength to be as strength, whether in the man or in the woman.
Yeah, that's good. That's completely right. So it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't differ. So, and the subject of diafere is hair iscus, strength. So strength does not differ, pros, in relation to, I just lost my screen. Where is it? Okay. Pros to iskus enai, in relation to being strength. Right, so strength doesn't differ in relation to being strength. And then ayan te air. So ayan plus subjunctive and another ayan te, which also uses the same subjunctive. So whether the strength should be in a man or the strength should be in a woman.
Oh yeah, I missed the subjunctive. Yep, yep. Doke ti soy differen. Does it seem otherwise? Does it seem different to you?
Yes, that's good. That's good. What makes this difficult is the T. I mean, you didn't translate it as interrogative, but with the acute accent, it looks like it is, but that's because of the soy is enclitic and it's given it that accent. So does it seem to differ to you? And the T is just this accusative of the indefinite pronoun. Just means at all. Does it seem to you to differ at all?
And then ook moi gay, indeed not me, or I couldn't agree more or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to
more.
me to differ at all. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I think that was the end of my section actually. I was just
Yeah,
so do me.
Great, thanks, Michael.
Heda arate pros to arate enai di oise ti. Eanta en paidi, eanta en presbute, eanta en gunaiki, eanta en andri. So it's a question. The main verb is di oise, which took me a long time to track down. It's the future of diaphero.
Yeah.
So and it's a question, and the subject's hearate. Will virtue or excellence, pros to arete, just like pros to iskus enai, in regard to being virtue, will it differ at all, dioisat, and then we've got, I'm not sure what sort of clause it is, but the verb is the third person singular subjunctive of Amy, whether being en piety in a child, eanta en presbute, whether being in an old man, eanta en gunaiki, eanta en andri, whether in a woman, whether in a man.
Yeah, that's very good. So just to note, so hair arate is the actually I'll just this is, as you, I'm glad you found that because it's not easy to find. I'll just very quickly so whether like normal words, luor, second part, principal part of the verb, lusor, whereas feror, bear, carry, it's the second principal part is oisor, I will bear or carry. And we've got this word diaferor to be I carry in different directions, which comes to mean in the third person singular, it is carried in different directions. That is, it differs from. So say is they, if it's neuter, they will differ or it will differ.
Martin, the eanta clauses with the subjunctive.
Yeah.
Grammatically, what are they? Are they further main clauses or comparative or?
So, I mean, I would understand
that
as a conditional clause. So we've got eante.
Conditional, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so because they have that word if buried in them. So it's eante plus that subjunctive air. So whether it's, but if it's in a child or if it's in an old man or if it's in a woman or if it's in a man, that's the if. Like whether the virtue is in any of these different situations, will virtue differ at all in relation to being virtue? And just to note, they say you've got this articular infinitive. So you've got the article and the infinitive to, arete, enai. So articular infinitive. Now, normally the subject of the infinitive is in the accusative. The exception is when the subject of the infinitive is also the subject of the main verb, which is dioise, and that's arete is the subject of the main verb. So, arete, virtue, will it differ in relation to being virtue? Whereas if it was, will you assert that being virtue is this or that, it'd be aretan. So normally the subject of the infinitive is accusative, but here it's the same as the subject of the main verb. Okay, that's good. Any other questions, or should we?
Well, just a quick question about the dia frusi again. What's the so the dia can mean through which, but in this case it means something else.
Well, it's the first part of this word dia feror, which means to differ. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but what does the dia mean in this case?
It's literally feror is to bear, right?
Yeah.
So to be borne apart, to be carried apart, and therefore to stand in a different place from something else.
So dia means apart in this case.
Yes, yes.
So that's the meaning of dia, to through which.
And all the words for separate, well, I don't want to say all, but often the word like diaresis, to take and separate, to take apart, to take differently. Yeah. So
we had the dia prefix before meaning thoroughly, didn't we? Or intensifying it.
Yeah.
It's hard to reconcile those two.
Well, yeah. I think we can't expect, we're learning Greek because there's no literal translation possible.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very good early on to say, I'm going to think through for dia. You like just to cling to something that does apply to a lot of situations, and that helps you as you begin to learn it. But after a while, we have to let that become a bit loose and just try and see how it works and how it acts, and form our own judgment. But early on, it's good to have those senses. Dia means through, but it can mean thoroughly or separately, like to separate.
Okay. Emoiga pos doke or Socrates, tuta uketi homoion enai tois alois tutois. The main verb's doke. Somehow, pos, it seems to me, Socrates, this no longer is enai similar to the other things.
So that's
these other things, to these other things.
Yep. The eternal complaint against Socrates. This is not like those other examples that you've been giving me. Yeah, it's good.
Hang on, I've got to have 2 pages over at the same time. Peter, question. What? Why? Uk andros men aretain elegus, pollen eudioikein, gunaikos de oikian. So another question. The main verb is elegus, imperfect, second person singular. A question. Were you not saying, on the one hand, men aretain andros, virtue in a man, and then the infinitive, dioikein polinu, to manage a city well, to govern a city well, and then gunaikosta, but in a woman, the household, oikian.
Yeah, that's very good. And for English, we have to say, we have to introduce the rest of the first clause and say to manage a household well.
The household well, yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's just an accusative infinitive after Lego, isn't it? You're saying virtue.
Yes.
Or is
yeah.
it? Or is dioikane substantive? Is there an estin understood? Yeah, there must be an estin understood, mustn't there? Virtue is, in a man, is to manage a city well.
Yeah, but that's after eleges, as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying that accusative, arotan, virtue is esti, well, anai, anai, dioikane, to manage well the city.
Or is managing. Virtue is managing a city well, in a man and in a woman, a household.
Yep.
Meno, egogo, I was, yes. Arun hoion to eu dioikane, a polin, a oikian, a alla hotiun, me sophronos, kai dikaios, dioikunta. That's a question. And then the hoion to, there's an st missing there. That's the construction meaning, is it possible? Is it able? Are you able? So therefore, un, hoion to, is it possible, dioikane, eudioikane, to manage well, a pollen aoikian, a alahotiun, whether a city or a household or something else whatsoever, and then the dioikunta is your present participle, active. And I suppose there's an auton or something as the subject of dioikane. A person, dioikunta, may dioikunta, not managing, sophronos kai dikaios, moderately, temperately, and justly. So is that right? That dioikunta sort of implies a pronoun as the subject of dioikane?
Yeah, and it's the same sort of implied subject of dioikane and dioikunta. So is it possible to manage well a city or household or anything else? Me dioikunta, if one is not managing. So the participle can be translated dioikunta.
Conditionally?
Yeah, I mean, here it seems to be clearly it's conditional, but the participle can mean because you're managing, although you are managing, while you are managing, temporal, causal, concessional, or conditional if you were managing. And so here it's got mere preceding it, so it's not because you were doing it. It has to be a hypothetical of some kind. If you were, or although you were. So here probably if you were managing, if you were not managing it, mere dioikunta, if you were not managing it, moderately and justly. So two adverbs with the os endings that is typical for the adverbs. Yeah, that's good.
And then menon data, certainly not. Socrates, ukun anpa dikaios kai sophronos dioikosin, dikai osune kai sophrosune dioi kesusin. So another question. Now, ukun, the idea is surely, isn't it? for sure. An per dioikosin, that's a subjunctive. Third person plural, present subjunctive. So if they were managing justly and moderately temperately, dioike Susan, then we just got a simple future indicative. They will manage dikaiosune with justice, kai sophrosune, and with moderation.
Yeah, that's very good. So, and that's the main sentence there. So, will they manage? Well, with ukun, will they not manage?
Oh, it's a question, of course. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So, will they not manage with justice and with moderation? And then the condition comes first, and it's unpair, but the un conceals the ayan, and the a has been contracted into the un, so it's ayan pair plus subjunctive. So if you have an ayan and a subjunctive, and then a future indicative in the main clause, that's a future more vivid condition. Whereas if it's with the optative, that's the more remote condition. Like if I were to do this, you would do that. Whereas this is if they manage things justly and moderately, they will manage with justice and moderation. Yeah.
That unpair threw me for a while because a page earlier we've got e unpair.
Yeah.
E unpair is skura gune e. So is this just elegant variation by Plato?
Yes. Just to put off people trying to understand the language.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what case, Michael, is dioikosin? What case is that?
They're datives of means, or so they will govern, manage with justice and with moderation. You got the
so Chris, that's
eta.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So the dikaiosune and sophrosune, that's the datives, right? But Chris, were you asking about the verb though? Dioikesusen?
Yeah, dioi core, the omega corsin. So at B, the second last word.
Yeah, that's also the subjunctive. Yep.
I am about.
Oh, subjunctive. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's
dioikeo.
yeah. So yeah, we have the ayan plus the subjunctive ayan dioi corsin. So if they manage, blah blah blah, and then we have the future indicative. They will manage. Yeah.
Yep.
An anke necessarily, or literally a necessity. We've gone past 9. Do you want me to keep going?
Oh, have we?
Yeah.
Because I have you burdened with everything down.
I've got a bit more to do
C5.
to the end of the page. Yeah.
Oh, it's 902. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I got. Okay. No, that's good. That's good. So where are we? We're at B.
B3 is where we pick up.
Yep. B3. Perfect. Okay. So I'll send out some more lines going on from B3. And
Mark,
yeah, but that's sorry.
I was just going to say, I won't be here. I've got a rehearsal next Thursday, and my bit's coming after Michael, but you could just read out what I've done. See, I've sent you all my analysis.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good. And then well, email again for the next week when you're back. Hopefully.
Excellent. Good.
Kirsten's going to get lines.
If Kirsten's going to get lines, I'm intensely looking forward.
You're a dobber, Martin.
So Martin, I wonder, was there any, so somebody's doing a rehearsal next week, was there any evidence that any of these were played as dramas, like on the stage in ancient Greece, any of these dramas? Because they could, see, when you and Andrew were saying before, you'd have to fill that in where it said, ukun kai megathos kai iskus, and you have to fill in the other words to make it a full sentence. But of course, in a drama, but you just wouldn't do that, because it's not natural Is there any evidence that any of these were performed or not?
No, there's lots of people theoretically think so.
Okay.
And you know Gilbert Ryle,
Oh,
who wrote a book on Plato, and he imagines and hypothesizes at length, drawing on dramatic practice and so on, and what it would be like. But yeah, we don't have any. I mean, it makes sense though. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Just don't ask us to perform it, please, Martin.
Oh, but that's week 10.
Oh, great.
We'll all be in togas or himation in Greek, and yeah, and enunciating the question of being. And yeah, Kaz and I were talking in the break. The level at which all of you are reading and interpreting the language is really phenomenal. It's excellent. Like this kind of progress in 1 year, it is quite amazing. And I'm teaching a second class coming through, and they're struggling more than you are, which is possibly why there was so much attrition. But so yeah, no, everyone's doing extremely well. It's very impressive. I mean, and just I don't just my own experience in undergraduate courses as a student and as a teacher. Yeah, you've all really advanced very rapidly. So
Tribute
well
to your instruction, Martin.
it's a sheer accident. So
Well,
yeah,
I'm now
thanks
going
very
to go
much.
Feed some horses, so I'll bail. Thank you all.
Okay, thanks. Bye, Michael. Bye, everyone.